You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Before history is written, it's played. Before it's frozen in time, it's fought one shift at a time. Before it's etched in silver, it's carved in ice. What happens next will last forever. The Stanley Cup Final on ABC and ESPN Plus begins Saturday.
Now's a good time to remember where the story of tequila started. In 1795, the first tequila distillery was opened by the Cuervo family. And 229 years later, Cuervo is still going strong. Family owned from the start, same family, same land. Now's a good time to enjoy Cuervo, the tequila that invented tequila. Go to Cuervo.com to shop tequila or visit a store near you. Cuervo, now's a good time. Trademarks owned by Becle, SAB the CV. Copyright 2024. Proximo. Jersey City, New Jersey. Please drink responsibly.
Welcome to the Big Suey, presented by DraftKings.
Why are you listening to this show?
The podcast that seems very similar to the other Dan Le Batard podcast.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize for that.
In fact, the only difference seems to be this imaging.
I have been tempted in restaurants just walking past tables to grab somebody's fries that if they're just there. That hasn't happened to you guys?
I've done it.
And now, here's the marching man to nowhere, Fat Face, and the habitual liar.
A tweeter writes in correctly, who had Stugotz being the most rational and reasonable analyst on all of the NBA Finals?
Thank you.
You are welcome, Stugotz. I don't think any of us had that. I wanted to ask you guys something. There have been a couple of times recently that I have been unreasonably enraged by something that is totally silly. One of them is Mike Ryan accusing me of not watching a playoff game I had watched on television because he thought my analysis was so bad.
It's why I took mine back so quickly. I mean,
the other time was, and I want to ask you guys this because it's never happened to me, and I can't believe that I got to 55 years old living in Miami all my life without it happening to me. This happened to me in Los Angeles, and it really legitimately enraged me. So I'm in the middle lane at a stoplight, and I've made a mistake, and I've got to get over and make a right. There is one car behind me. I'm not cutting anybody. There is one car behind the person to my right that I'm asking for permission at the stoplight.
The old, can I get in?
Can I get in here? And the person said no.
Huh.
And I'm like, and said no, and then moved up. And
the worst.
But it's not. I'm promising you, I'm not cutting in the line.
I ain't cheating.
That's right. I'm not
You're
cheating.
asking.
I've made a mistake, and I'm really just asking as politely as possible for a little courtesy, a little permission. And I just felt like I felt legitimately hurt by a stranger.
You got cheaters never prospered.
Now, how do you do this? Do you start leaning the car into the lane? Do you roll down your window?
Yes.
How does this work for you?
So Valerie's in the passenger side, and I'm just trying to get their attention by leaning in a little diagonally and just sort of waving and politely asking.
Prayer hands? Maybe a little one prayer hand, please?
Wait, did you start to move the car before you made because that could be a little like if a car's moving
That's
in
what I'm saying. That's
before
why
the
I asked.
ask is made, then I'm like, get out.
You got to do it simultaneously.
Right.
You guys have said no to somebody who is just...
I'm a yes guy. I always let people
You don't
in.
just start moving your car into the person's lane. You got to get the nod first.
Yeah.
Then
Greg
you start
Cody would
moving
say
the
no to
car.
you.
Is this a freeway?
No, it's
No,
not. No,
because freeway, I'll put my foot down. But like regular traffic, no, you go right ahead.
Are you literally putting your foot down?
Well, because you have those exits where it's a merge, like the merge lane started a mile back. We're all single file, and you'll have these people that no matter what will buzz to the front of it, and they get rewarded.
I know you guys were going to accuse me of that. It's why I told you. I set forth the specifics of there's only one car behind me, so I can't back up. I want to just back up. I don't want to cut anybody, but I can't. And I found myself for about 10 minutes wondering how I had let a stranger hurt me. Somebody that the denial felt like something that stayed with me.
What kind of car was it?
I don't remember.
Well, what kind of car were you in?
The rental car.
Did you have a place to be?
I wasn't in any big hurry. No.
You should have fender bendered them.
Oh, wow.
You should have bumped them.
With a rental.
Said, you know what?
With a rental car.
Yeah, of course. You sign
cares?
off. You get the
Right.
insurance. Not your car. You paid for the insurance.
I don't do
$5.
that. I don't do that.
When I picked
Everyone
it up,
says
I
it's a
mean,
scam.
You intentionally bump into them and be like, well, we could have avoided this. I guess we're going to be here 2 hours together now. Let's be friends.
So as spite, let's be friends.
Yeah.
You think friendship is going to
spite
blossom
car
from that?
Yeah.
You think
Billy is the
Bump
last
'em.
person
Whoop.
that would ever
Whoops,
do that.
sorry. Oh, did you have someplace to go? You should have let me in.
I did not move aggressively in front of this person. I did go a little diagonal and I was presuming, because every time in my life that I've ever asked for that particular permission, it has been granted. I have had a permission privilege in this regard, and I had not seen my blind spot because I had not even considered the idea that somebody would say no to me under those circumstances. And then I invented an entire tale of misery that must be going on in that person's life, that they need the power
That's
over me.
unfair.
Well,
I
but
mean, you don't know that.
I don't know that, but I feel like I could assume. What kind of misery are you that you're somebody who does not like to give or help to others?
That's why you hit them, then you find out.
There's something about being in a car, it just turns you into a different person. Like in a grocery store, shopping carts, go right ahead. But a car, get the out of here. It's just, I don't know. There's some.
It's face-to-face interaction in a grocery store, and you're protected by the car.
Maybe that's it. It's where I'm at my worst. I often say to myself, like, who am I right now? Why am I so angry? Why am I not letting this guy in?
Do you guys realize, though, that what happened because she wouldn't let me in? We were at a stoplight. It was still a stoplight. So now she's got to sit there with me just staring at her, being like, really?
That's what she wants.
I know, but she's not looking at me. She's only giving me the side of her face, and she's catching the heat of my withering judgment on the side of her face. She will not dare make eye contact with me because I'm genuinely miffed.
She feels the heat. She laughs at your heat.
No, but that's in the spot that Dan's in. You don't want to give off, I'm bothered by this. So what I do in that spot is you like smile at her. It's like, I don't want you to know that you've bothered me, so I'm going to like smile at you, even though I couldn't be more livid.
Now imagine that discomfort for 2 hours while you wait for the police to sort things out on something completely inconsequential.
Feel good about this? Yeah, you're just like heckling them. Like, is this what you wanted? You got an accident.
They don't make cars the way they used to, because like back in the day, you could just bump cars. It wasn't a big deal, right? Like the fender wouldn't fall off, the airbags wouldn't go off. Like you were fine. You could just keep going. I remember like vividly as a child, like if like my aunt or someone was like in the car behind us, they just like kind of slowly go and bump the car. And you like turn around, you're like, what just happened right now? Yeah, it's a little love tap, a little kiss. In the DR, I went to the DR and they have like cages around some of the cars, and like there's no lines drawn on the expressway. So it's basically like, this expressway is as wide as many cars as you can fit here at any given time, right? And like our taxi driver who had like one of the cages was like, watch this, and would bump other cars just to make us laugh. And it's like, I don't think this is a good idea, but it was fun.
Everyone's done the fender bender move. When you get in one, you get out, they get out, you say, I'm good. You good? See you later.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No marks. You're just like, all right.
I don't wait for the answer. I just get in my car and I
here
drive
they
away.
speed away.
I mean,
Someone did that to me, strong-armed me. I had like a white Honda Civic at the time, 1996, if you were wondering. And this red car like bumped me like on the expressway. And then the guy came out. He's like, no, it's fine. It's just a little bit of pain. It's fine. And then he like left. And then I was like, okay, because I was on my way to school. I had a place to be. I was like, I guess. And then I got home, and it's like, the whole back of my car is red. What am I supposed to do about this?
That's happened to me twice. They speed away.
Yeah,
they're not insured. They're not insured.
Well, I've had other times where they like flat out tell me like, I have a situation going on with my insurance. Like I can just pay you cash, and it's like I'm very uncomfortable right now. What am I supposed to do? Am I going to send someone to jail? Like, am I going to have the cops get involved here and there's no insurance, and I'm just going to take cash and we're going to guesstimate how much this is going to cost me to fix? Like, I don't like it at all.
Juju, put it on the poll, please, at Batard Show. Is the Dominican Republic the wild, wild west for traffic?
That's leading. That's leading the witness. It's fun. Like, it's a fun, it's like a wild, wild west themed water slide.
Billy, it's not fun. The only time I've ever experienced this was my first time in New York. I couldn't believe it was real. Cabs like bump each other all the time.
They don't care.
They don't care.
Right.
And the streets are so crowded. I'm like, wait a minute, this is normal? They wouldn't even get out of the car. It would just be like waving at each other.
Keep it moving. Yeah, that's it.
Just tap each other and keep it moving. But the Dominican Republic for traffic it's a special kind of reckless. Another thing I
So
noticed.
is LA, by the way. I mean,
Not like the Dominican Republic.
No, because like we're so vain here that if there's like a little scratch or like a little ding in your car, you're like, oh my God, I need to go get this fixed. There, it's like seriously like roll cages around the cars, like boom, just like with bumper cars. It's fun.
But Miami
Put your seatbelt on, though.
is
Just be
where you're
safe.
most likely to get somebody who doesn't have insurance getting out of the car and just offering you cash.
Or if you can get them out of the car, that's an achievement in itself.
Yes.
Because then you can ID them. No, it's quantifiable. Like we lead the country in uninsured drivers.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Batard Show. Does Miami lead the
doubt.
country or any country in uninsured drivers? Something else that I noticed in Los Angeles, I don't know if you guys are aware of this. Kelsey Grammer is making his return in Frasier.
oh, come on.
Yeah, I think it's a That couple happened seasons already. in.
I can't believe that that's so. That what else has he done since Frasier? Did he do
Expendables.
Expendables? He did Expendables, and has he done anything
He
else?
was Beast in the X-Men movies.
So you guys aren't surprised. I was learning for the first time on billboards out there that Kelsey Grammer and Frasier is still a thing.
I am surprised in that it got renewed for other seasons. I was aware that this was a thing.
I mean, it was a great show. I don't know if the return of it is great.
CBS or
Paramount, I don't.
not surprising.
No, that's true. It's not. I'm just a bit surprised that we can reprise all of that, and I guess you don't need very much. You just got to bring Kelsey Grammer back from. Doesn't he? He's got some ugly stuff in his past, does he not? Because he's making. I don't know whether it's a divorce or something. Like I was just surprised to see any of it while I was, through my glistening rage at a driver there.
Is that why you you didn't pull into the lane in time? You were just distracted by the Frasier billboard?
That's right.
Well, really?
shocked.
Frasier Crane is back. What's going on with his life?
He's sitting there. He's got to make a right. He doesn't realize he's in the middle lane. He's looking at a billboard. He can't believe the guy is still doing it.
Babe, they're bringing Frasier back.
Did you guys enjoy? I know you had this to yourselves last week. A race, gender, culture war take place over a single foul in a women's basketball game.
Dan, if you thought that was bad, just wait till the news cycle catches up to her not making the Olympic roster.
Well,
It's there.
I saw a whole lot of people yesterday who were very expert. A lot of people. I thought to myself last week when I heard some of the commentary, this would be a good spot for some of the men to just quiet down and listen. That's not the way we do business in the sports gas bag business. But I thought last week would have been a good chance for all of us to just sit around and listen. But now Caitlin Clark is quote unquote snubbed, not the only one snubbed, on a totally loaded U.S. Olympic team. And the question I want to ask all of you is, can Caitlin Clark do what Joel Embiid has done to make it on Team USA and just play for somebody else? Can she?
Find an Italian grandparent.
Yeah, I don't know what.
If she beat the United States, I'm not certain that helps her cause.
Does Ireland have a team? Does she have some Irish in her? Can she do this? I'm asking. Is she capable of playing for somebody else?
Well, when this happened, I immediately texted Lucy, like probably 300 people in her life. So I kind of felt bad after that. But I had very naive questions. I'm like, can't she do what Cameron Brink is doing? Play on the 3-on-3. And then Lucy, sweet Lucy, said, I'm actually excited that she gets a break. And it was a point that I hadn't really considered. Because, yeah, she could use a break. All of this is happening very fast. It's a high-intensity treadmill that she hasn't been able to get off of.
I know. That part was weird, that she got like 7 days off, and then all of a sudden she goes from grand heroism to we're counting her turnovers in the first game.
And also, as someone that doesn't really follow the WNBA, I was also like, well, she should make the Olympic roster. And then I saw the roster. I'm like, oh, those are good names. I've heard of all of them.
Yep.
Probably a good call there.
Does Ireland have a team?
Folks, it's Mike Ryan. I want to talk to you about Game Time. As you know, it's the summer. That means summer concert season. A lot of big-time concerts out there. A lot of desirable tickets, a lot of sold-out tickets. And what do you do when the primary market is sold out? You turn to the secondary market, and that is often a headache. But it is not a headache with Game Time. It is my go-to for the secondary market. And if, on the small chance, you find a better price out there, don't worry. Game Time has a low price guarantee. Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying things like NBA Finals tickets and concert tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code DAN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DAN for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Don Le Batard.
While I was gone, a third Zagacki was born, and I think I heard, correct me if I'm wrong here, Jeremy trying to partake in a fourth Zagacki, and I am here for a future where I am surrounded by a chorus of clucking Zagackis.
Stugotz.
You know what it means when you have 4 Zagackis, Dan. You don't have one.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
I don't believe that you can be a champion in sports if your name is Stewart. If you're Stuart Skinner and you have that mustache, I don't believe that you can win the championship. Who were the greatest of the sports Stewarts?
Sink.
Tony Stewart.
Payne Stewart.
Surnames don't count.
That is correct. It's STU, like Stugotz. I don't believe that you can be imposing and a menace of athletic excellence if your name is Stewart.
Or if it's just Stu. So you have Stu Grimson.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Can you be athletically great if your name is Stewart?
Stuart Scott.
Good basketball player.
Yeah.
What?
Stuart Scott played. He was a good basketball player when he was in ESPN.
He tried out for the Jets too.
Wait a minute. I don't know that this is true. And when he tried out for the Jets, he got hit in the face with the ball and had to stop the tryout.
soon,
Good athlete.
Could happen to anyone.
Yeah.
It could
shame him.
It could happen to anyone, but I'm simply saying I don't know if he was good at basketball or not. I don't remember Stuart Scott as being athletically excellent. I'm not saying he isn't. I just don't remember it.
Let's not get bogged down. His name is Stewart.
Yes.
That's all that really matters, but I don't think it proves your point. I think it proves my point.
He was on UNC's club football team.
Pretty sure Stuart Sink proved your point when that was like the first name that came out.
That's the best that you can do.
Stuart Randall Johnson. Randy Johnson.
Even he knew. He's like, I got to go by Randy. And there aren't many Randys either.
It's not his real name, but it could have been.
Drake bet $500,000.
Billy, man, like, help. Please, I'm just asking you to help.
Just made it up.
I'm just asking you to help us out.
I mean, he just.
I got to Google the roll cages in the DR at this point.
That's real.
Juju said to me last week that he was surprised at how helpful Billy generally was when he was trying to do something other than be an agent of chaos. He didn't know that you had it in the toolbox. He didn't think that you could do anything else. When you get down to analyzing the Panthers and the Oilers, you guys correct me on this because Paul Maurice was asked some form of you can't have Barkhoff always on the ice when McDavid is on the ice, and he's like, the hell I can't. You just watch me. You just watch me get Barkhoff out there every time McDavid's out there.
The last change, home ice. Well, let's do it.
Well, Barkov and Reinhardt logged some defenseman type numbers as far as time on the ice. They both played over 20 minutes last night.
Yeah, and Tkachuk only logged 13 minutes in game one, and there's a couple of theories for that. Evander Kane got a good shot on him. Evander Kane had two instances that were way worse than what Sam Bennett did to Brad Marchand. You won't hear about it because I guess we're not from Boston.
Well, let's show them. Let's show the Evander Kane. Evander Kane. He's got this history. He does things like this.
Oh yeah, so that's the one on Chucky. Right in front of the official, just drive by, punch in the face.
Chucky really sold it.
As a line.
Yeah, Chucky sold
really
that.
sold it.
But I will say, Chucky only spent 13 minutes on the ice in that game. Maybe this had something to do with it. I actually thought the Sam Bennett one was worse. And Sam Bennett, both Chucky and Sam Bennett are these guys that have this reputation. Certainly Evander Kane is. Check out this one. I didn't see this during the broadcast. That Evander Kane shot right in Sam Bennett's face. Again, Sam Bennett no one's going to be crying for Sam Bennett considering what he got away with, air quotes, against Boston and Brad Marchand. But
he caught him with the stick there, right? Is it not the butt of the stick?
These are pretty dirty plays. I will say, though, anytime Evander Kane is on the ice and he's not injuring your players is a good thing for Florida, because Evander Kane, I know he's dealing with a sports hernia.
He's bad.
That was bad. Woo! You could say he was directly responsible for one of the goals with his refusal to back check. He's just a net negative on the ice right there. If that's all he's on the ice to do, maybe he'll eventually hurt. And depending on how you look at the ice time for Tkachuk, I know there's some speed concerns out there against Edmonton. Maybe that is the impact. Like, I'll give you 7 fewer Chucky minutes.
I mean, that's interference, let alone a high hit. That should have been called a penalty.
Both happened right in front of Stripes. And this wasn't even like the broadcast didn't mention these.
Kane was on the ice on the Bennett Rodriguez goal?
Yeah, he refused a back check. And everyone's going to blame Nurse. Because
Nurse, right through.
Nurse, actually, I think it's Sam Reinhart's dad that has the worst plus-minus in Stanley Cup playoffs history, and Nurse is only like 3 behind him. Nurse's plus-minus has been a thing this entire postseason.
Just sleeping.
The pairing of Ceci and Nurse, you better hope that Edmonton keeps trotting them out there, because it's just been terrible. But that goal that they gave up, you could put a lot of the blame on Evander Kane.
Can you guys tell me, among some of the video that we have that's broken out around Panther hockey, I don't want to get to the shirtless kid who is ruining and making better all of the sideline interviews with the opposing coaches, because that kid reminds me of Muscle Boy from the championship run of the Marlins a million years ago, because he's behind all of the coaches, distracting them while shirtless. But here we have video of Mike Ryan's wife, and Mike has told you that he's surrounded by hockey hosers in Florida. We're going to go out to Tony here to show you the energy all around South Florida around this Panther team. But Mike Ryan and his wife were at a hockey bar on late Saturday night, and Cynthia's in the background, and perhaps you can see her. This is a dream woman for every man, just shouting how much Witty sucks at every turn, because we all want to hear our partners shouting how Witty sucks, caught on live local television.
Talking about that party continuing, just take a look at the excitement out here today. The bar erupting in joy, of course.
That's right. Witty sucks.
The Panthers.
What a terrible heel turn by Witty. What a bad time for Witty to do that.
Quarterdeck?
No, the bright side. Hockey bar.
Wow. Oh, wow. Because you went to space the other night. I mean,
that was to celebrate the ECF.
Witty's got to have some regret about when he decided to check out on this team.
And he should.
I tried to tell him he can come back, and he's just, he's committed at this point.
He doubled down last week. He also did the show from a shower.
Yeah, kind of.
Fully clothed. Yeah. Wasn't a tub.
We had his pants off.
He's wearing a Rangers jersey. Yeah.
Is he a never nude? Is that the issue with him?
He said his pants were off, his shirt was on. I mean, I asked him to see his penis. He didn't show it.
He did, he asked.
So he couldn't confirm. Yeah.
Stunning that Stugotz would show that level of subtlety.
Proof.
It's always great when Stugotz, yes, you needed proof.
Right.
And how'd that all go?
He didn't show me.
Right, you didn't get it.
Stugotz has been advised not to say anymore.
Thank you,
So the whole
Stugotz.
thing is settled.
Yeah. The other video that I wanted to show people, and you guys tell me that the shirtless Panther kid is not the kid that we should be celebrating most as a Panther fan these days?
You might be getting confused. There's a few. There's one kid that takes his shirt off when they show him. There's one kid that leaves his shirt on but just gets the crowd fired up. This is a different kid. This does not look like those two kids, but this is a fired up Panthers fan, and this was me. This was me after the game.
You're here and supporting the Panthers. What does this mean to you?
This is a monumental moment in my life. I have been here since day one of my birth, 2011, and I just can't wait to see my team happily host the Cup.
Yes.
Wow!
Yes.
Let's go!
Yes, Canada hates this child so much.
Limping off.
I have eyewitness reports of someone that was sitting near that kid in the stands. He was constantly telling Edmonton Oilers fans to shut up the entire game. I'm so happy for him. That kid deserves it.
Yep.
I want to hear it again.
I mean, day one.
Yes, go back for a second, and I want you guys just to watch this through the prism, okay, of Canada and somebody who's 80 years old who's sitting here trying to understand, why is there hockey in Florida? Why does it go from Tampa to South Florida while our teams can't win anything?
Why do we have to play them?
Why? I want you to think of an 80-year-old man watching this punk.
Hey.
No.
Relax.
I mean,
this guy's a hero.
I mean it in the most loving way possible. This is through the viewpoint. This is not me talking. it's a bitter 80-year-old Canadian watching this kid and his feathered hair talk about long suffering since 14 years ago.
You're here and supporting the Panthers. What does this mean to you?
This is a monumental moment in my life. I have been here since day one of my birth, 2011, and I just can't wait to see my team happily host the Cup. Let's go!
Host the Cup! I'm totally with you. I have some guy like in the middle of Ottawa. He lives in a cabin. It's snowy. It's icy. He only owns a TV to watch
that's
hockey.
That's great. There is somebody right now, 84 years old, hobbles in with a walker and tennis balls in Prince Edward Island. Staring at a tiny television, been watching hockey on that thing since Gretzky's Oilers
in Newfoundland.
And he's like, what are they doing? They're in South Florida. Nobody there knows anything about hockey, and all they do on the broadcast. The broadcast needs to tell me one more time how far Sunrise is from Edmonton. That Stanley Cup teams have never flown this much on an off day.
It is really far. If you're an 80-year-old Oilers fan, though, I'm pretty certain you had a pretty good run of it in your lifetime. And when we talk about long-suffering fan bases, think about when the Rangers won in '94. All we heard was they haven't won a cup in 40 years. Well, I haven't won a Stanley Cup game in regulation my entire life. This franchise has been around for 30 years. I know it all feels new because they were around in the 90s, but hey, every year that turns, we grow older. We are a long-suffering fan base. We've only had one win in the Cup final prior to Game 1. So, yeah, we kind of do deserve this.
Okay, settle down. Again, the country of Canada doesn't get this far. The country, all of their teams.
Yeah, and we've heard about how they haven't won a cup since '93. Panthers came around in '94, and I will say that we had a charmed existence. Made it to the Stanley Cup final in '96. And not like Vegas, who went to the Cup final in their first year and lifted the Cup, I think, in year 3 or 4 of their existence. But we thought that, okay, yeah, this is amazing. We're going to keep getting back here. And then they were perpetually 5 points out of the final playoff spot for 25 years. And last year, you did your suffering. You won the President's Trophy, and you got eliminated by Daddy over in Tampa Bay. And then you get to the Cup final, and you get dismissed in a gentlemanly fashion.
But everything you're saying is fine, and it's accurate, and it's good, but Canada's still pissed.
I understand, but it's not. But everyone's like, oh, poor Canada. Like this fan base is a long-suffering, tortured fan base down here.
You can say that, and everyone listening to that will dismiss it. But it has been 3 decades of really bad hockey, and then the last 5 years, the state of Florida, Stugotz, because it went from Tampa to Florida, makes it so that I'm now talking to you and saying the following, and I will say the sentence again because I want to get into analysis of that game and what's sustainable and what is not sustainable, because Edmonton scores on 37% of its power plays. I thought the Rangers were good at the power play. I thought Tampa was good at the power play. Edmonton on both sides is great on the power play. They have stopped the last 30 situations in which they are shorthanded, and again, Stugotz, 1 out of every 3 times they score, and furthermore, and Mike's been talking about this for a couple of years with McDavid because he is so fast. What they do on the power play looks different than anyone else in the league because they are just breaking the middle of they are shooting closer to the net than all other teams because of the pressure that they are putting on your goaltender.
They also are shooting further away from the net than anybody because this year in particular, they've realized that, Bouchard has a shot that really no one else has. These booming shots from Bouchard that at the very least will create a big juicy rebound for Zach Hyman to put away, and it's in part why Zach Hyman became a 50-goal scorer. It's an embarrassment of riches on their power play unit, and you saw the speed. Florida doesn't concede many breakaways. They conceded 2. I will venture to say, I think that scouting department for Edmonton let them down a little bit, because if you're going to get a breakaway on Bob, you do not go low glove. Everybody shows low glove. We've seen it. We've seen bottom 6 forwards in this postseason.
Don't tell them. Billy didn't want to tell them. Don't tell them to go high on Bob.
Everyone knows.
Don't tell them.
I'm telling you, their coaches are telling them. It's not that easy.
Yeah, McDavid fielded 2 questions. McDavid fielded 2 questions from Canadian press, like, why aren't you going high on Bob? Everyone knows that. I'm like, shut up, please. He doesn't need your help.
Well, it's because the Panthers are able to back check and force these shooters to, at the last minute, take a shot, and it's usually low.
Yeah, but you got to show glove and turn that around and dig to the other side. I mean, Bob hasn't stopped a single breakaway when someone shows glove and then pulls it the other side this entire postseason. And Henrique and Nugent-Hopkins just decided, well, we're just going to play into this guy's strengths.
Now's the time to save 30% on wedding jewelry, only on BlueNile.com. Make sure your wedding ring is the one with your pick of diamond and lab-grown diamond bands, all hand-finished and graded for excellence. Or surprise her with something blue she'll love for life, like a stunning pair of sapphire earrings. Blue Nile's jewelry experts are available 24/7 to help, from fit questions to style advice. Right now, get up to 30% off at BlueNile.com. BlueNile.com.
Don Le Batard.
Our Panther group chat, we're confident against the Lightning. This is a different team.
Yeah. You're a Panther group chat, though.
No, I think no, but dude, you're so wrong on that. We've been terrified of this team forever, and I think there's a different energy where the Panthers, they want the Lightning.
Stugotz.
I want T-shirts made for this Panther run. What could be this Panther run? Our Panther group chat, we're not afraid of the Lightning.
That's a tagline for World War 3.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Did anyone ask McDavid about Greg Cody, Roy?
No. I was there. I
thought you were doing that.
I tried. I had bad positioning, and there was a person from Young Hollywood or whatever blogged out was that asked him 4 questions, and spaced out everybody from Canada. Like it was ridiculous. And it was something like, how Hollywood are you? Was one of the questions that she asked him. I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
How Hollywood is he?
He said he was not that Hollywood.
I appreciate it. I mean, McDavid is a bit of a stoic. And he's been criticized by some and being like, you're clearly the best player in the league. Do you want this or not? I've done deep dives on the Edmonton Oilers because a week went in between games. He was a child prodigy. At the age of 5, he wrote a 15-year-old Sidney Crosby a letter on how Sidney Crosby deals with the pressure of being a prodigy. This guy was born for this, but I do think he gives thoughtful answers. And I'm really curious to know how you experienced Game 1 because you're always like, well, this isn't sustainable, guy. And Game 1 was a fascinating game to dive into. Connor McDavid said, well, the puck gods weren't on our side the way that they were in Game 6 because they actually made it to the Stanley Cup with a very similar effort.
A number of things that swept over me, Stugotz, because I've told you at every turn here, okay? Because, and this is weird for me, it does not happen very often, but all the grandfathered in history of what it is to see that uniform play hockey makes it so that I'm scared of Tampa, and I'm scared of Boston, and I'm scared of the Rangers. And I'm scared of hockey happening to these teams because it just got to the last 2 years where I understand what it's like to have the hot goalie. Mm-hmm. It's Van Beesbrook and it's Bobrovsky. And Bobrovsky, at the start of last playoffs, we were benching him.
No, we didn't bench him. They
benched him. Everybody benched him.
You're the coach now?
Everybody benched him. We benched him. They benched him. Everybody benched him. And now they've got the hot goalie. Because of what I'm bringing into what the Stanley Cup final tends to feel like, because they were swept against Colorado a million years ago, and that Vegas series from the beginning was over. Like that did not feel dramatic and tense. It felt like Vegas was going to drag them. One of the great stories in South Florida sports history. But what I take into that game, and I don't know if you guys felt this, the first minute of the game, they were sloppy around their own goal. Like for the first minute, I'm watching.
They had forgotten how to skate.
Bob's like flailing all over the place.
I'm like, did the ice get us? What's happening?
The first minute of that game, I'm expecting the puck to accidentally end up in the net because somebody's made a disastrous mistake because I don't understand what's happening with a very disciplined team. I spent the rest of the game after the first minute, even when they were leading, because of how the game was played, being like, they're going to allow goals. He can't keep stopping what's happening. Why is Bob behind the net while the puck is shooting in front of the net?
Yeah, and also on our first goal, that was also bizarre to see. When you consider the opponents that Florida has had to get to this Stanley Cup final, they haven't really encountered teams that will try to play them. They haven't had the opportunity to counter an attack. Edmonton's speed was crazy to start.
It is
and
crazy.
then you had the opportunity for a cross-ice pass to Carter Verhaeghe and a golden opportunity that you're going to put away, and you realize, man, the previous series were so hard. You would never get that look before. And Skinner, how did he not teleport to the other side of the net the way that Igor Shesterkin and Swayman were? This is, I think you're seeing right now in this final, and I really hope it plays out that way, is Edmonton's had a pretty blessed path here. Dallas is good. The what they did against Dallas was impressive.
Mike, you told me that Dallas was the team you were most afraid of.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, but Ottinger was carrying a bit of an injury. They played a Vancouver team that was very physical, that pushed them to the brink, that probably should have won that series. That was down to their third goalie. They played an LA Kings team that also pulled their goalie. And so these teams are not the same in their path. And I'll say all that, I was really shocked at how well Edmonton played. To not come away with a goal is pretty stunning. Florida had some stats that most people gloss over in terms of hits and faceoffs won. That'll kind of skew a game like this, but the numbers really don't make sense. Even the advanced metrics there, I really don't know how that happened, other than Florida's gotten quality chances and they capitalized on them in ways that they weren't all postseason long.
And the funny thing about that first goal was that was all on Connor McDavid. That
Yes.
goal started in the defensive zone, and Alexander Barkov took the puck away and treated McDavid like a pylon. He went full sprint the other way, and McDavid couldn't even catch up to him.
That was the most impressive thing of that first goal. McDavid not being able to catch Barkov.
Yeah, momentum.
That is insane.
Yeah, he's huge. And that's why Paul Maurice better make sure that Barkov is on the ice every time Connor McDavid is, because, yes, it was generated and McDavid's at fault, but he's a byproduct of his own blazing speed. You mentioned that they're 2 miles per hour faster. We're seeing a matchup right now that is actually maybe preventing Matthew Tkachuk from getting on the ice, because this speed is a real problem. I think it's a fascinating series. I think if you're an Edmonton Oilers fan, and trust me, I've listened to they're all saying the right things. Oh, well, that we just got goal lead there. That we're going to play a lot better. If they could play that game 100 times, Edmonton probably wins that game 90 times. But I will say Florida is not going to play that poorly. Florida played their second worst game of the postseason in Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final, and they found a way to win 3-0. I'm pretty encouraged.
Looking at the stats from Saturday night, the first line was out there for 12 minutes and 39 seconds. They allowed 23 shot attempts.
Not 7 or 8 minutes?
No, not 7 or 8 minutes. The entire first line on 5-on-5 were out there for 12 minutes and 39 seconds, allowed 23 shot attempts, and allowed 10 shots on net. I mean, that was against that first line against Edmonton. So, I expect Barkov and Reinhardt to be out there pretty much all night, like Maurice said. Like, you damn right he's going to be out there against that first line.
Roy, is Chucky hurt?
No, I don't think so.
Because I explained the 13 minutes of ice time for him. Is this a speed thing? Or is Paul Maurice
enough with the speed?
No, it's a lineup thing.
Seriously, enough with the speed. 2 seconds faster. I mean, they're down 1-0 to nothing. They didn't score a goal. This is not speed skating. I don't need Eric Heiden out there. I don't need Anton Apollono. I need the Florida Panthers scoring goals and not giving up goals, and that's what they're doing.
Okay,
speed. They're 2 seconds faster.
Let me ask you
know
this.
what? They're down 1-0 to nothing. They haven't scored a goal yet.
It's not 2 seconds faster. It's 2 miles.
2 miles per hour.
I don't care
faster.
what they are.
Okay.
I will ask this question, and it's not
a race,
and it's not to enrage you. Did you watch the game?
I did.
Okay, because
they're fast.
The speed jumps out. I'm not used to seeing a team be that much faster than the Panthers. I'm also not used to seeing the Panthers not being able to slow anybody that they're playing against.
Well, they did, though. And that's where I think some of the stats are skewed, because it did kind of seem that once Florida got the 2-goal lead, lockdown mode.
Third period was great.
Third period. All about that third period.
And that is some context context that you apply there. Florida's not a slow team. I think their speed is generally in that Dallas range.
Speed again.
It's just McDavid's unlike anybody else.
This is what you guys have to understand. I've been working with my partner here for a long time. He was just waiting for Speed to make a return appearance so he can make the Eric Heiden reference.
That was it, yeah.
It's all he did.
The only two I can name.
He just wanted to make a couple of speed skating jokes, and he brought it all back so that he could bring those names to you. But if you did watch the game, when it is that Mike is saying to me, how did you feel? The answer is, like I was backpedaling the entire game. I'm like, oh no, it's happening too fast.
Yeah,
it's all, there's speed skaters everywhere.
I found that people that attended the game had a different experience than those watching TV. People kind of felt like, okay, Florida's in control here. By the way, I saw a clip of how that barn erupted. I was there when Tkachuk hit the game-winning goal with seconds to spare to send them into the Stanley Cup final last year, and I thought that would be the loudest that place would ever be. The videos that I saw after Carter Verhaeghe's goal, there was debris everywhere.
Like beer, like people were like emptying their drinks, which doesn't happen.
There was like a weird force field of debris in the air. It was unbelievable to see.
I couldn't even hear the goal horn. It was so loud in there.
I mean, we're a hockey town. We deserve this.
Well, I will say that I think that Saturday is and maybe beating the Bruins in a Game 7, but I think Saturday is the best that hockey's ever made you feel, because you're at the top of the sport. You've not known what it's like to be a favorite. You know how hard
they're minus
it is.
250 right now to lift their first cup.
You know how hard it is to win that thing.
Hardest trophy in sports to win.
I left out Bonnie Blair.
Oh, no.
I just can't wait to see my team happily host the Cup.
Is he hosting it or hoisting it?
He's a young man.
Yeah.
He's a kid.
Yeah, put an I in there, yeah.
They were hosting the Cup.
Again, that was not me taking out that punk. It was an 80-year-old bitter Canadian from Prince Edward Island who is going to get...
That 80-year-old didn't have to put all his hopes on Christopher Stieg. That guy does. Let me tell you, 80-year-old hoser, you don't know pain.
Or Brian Campbell.
Convincing yourself that maybe David Booth deserves a shot for Team USA.
We're going to go out to Tony in the street.
It's raining right now.
To bring you the energy that South Florida is feeling around this cup.
Back streets back. All right. Since the dawn of mankind, we've cooked our food over an open flame and debated the best way to grill. One thing not up for debate, grilling and beer always go together. But not just any beer would do. Whether you barbecue, Texas style, or just celebrate Wednesday with burgers and dogs, I love Miller Lite. Every single time my team plays on television, I am sitting behind that television screen with a Miller Lite or 3. Miller Lite keeps it simple. Undebatable quality, taste as great as your barbecue. It's the beer that strips away everything you don't need and holds on to what matters the most. With the Miller Lite in hand, grilling doesn't just taste great, it tastes like Miller time. To get Miller Lite delivered right to your door, visit MillerLite.com/Dan. Or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories per 12 ounces. Woo!
At the Coca-Cola Company, Keurig Dr. Pepper, and PepsiCo, our bottles might still look the same, but some of them can be remade in a whole new way, using 100% recycled plastic. New bottles made using no new plastic except the caps and labels. You'll be seeing more of these new bottles in more places, and that's thanks to you, because when we get more bottles back, we can use less new plastic. Learn how our bottles are made to be remade at madetoberemade.org.